Hey guys, JC the Sniper here again, and today I have for review the 3rd generation Smith & Wesson Model 4013. It is a .40 caliber Smith & Wesson. If you are familiar with the model numbering of Smith & Wessons, you'll know that 40, or the first 2 digits are the caliber, so 40, and then the second digit is, or the third digit rather, is the action of the weapon, which and size of the frame. So that means it's a double action compact weapon, and then the final digit is the frame material, which in this case is aluminum. So this is a .40 caliber compact aluminum pistol. Philosophy of use for this pistol is going to be either a larger concealed carry handgun or a maybe a home defense weapon, a gun you're going to leave in your glove box, and it would be a good range gun. So that's kind of what it is. It's probably not a, it's not really a full-size service pistol. It's not going to be a go-to-war gun, but it is good for home defense and things of that nature. So not a bad pistol. Size, as I said, this is supposedly, well, first before we get started, I have safety cleared these, but just so you can see, there's no mag in there and it is empty. And same goes for these other guns in the background here. They have been safety cleared. So anyway, size is a little bit on the chunky side in my opinion. If you just look at this here, you can see that's a big thick dimension there with the frame and the slide, and even without a weapon or a attachment rail here, that's pretty thick. Same goes for the handle. The grip is very thick, and the spur coming off the back here, the beaver tail, which serves to protect your hand from the hammer and the slide, makes the overall length longer. If we compare it to the Glock 19, which is supposed to be a compact as well, you can see that the thickness of these is, the Glock 19 is thinner in frame dimension that way. It's also a little bit shorter with the spur coming off the back. If I can line these up for you, you see that it's a little bit shorter. Just barely, almost the same length, basically no difference there. And height is just about the same. So in that dimension, they're not bad. The dimension that makes the biggest difference, in my opinion, is this dimension here. You can see that this is significantly skinnier this way than this thing is. So that's a big chunk of metal to stick in your pants. And, this way, the base of the grip is about the same, but up top it's thicker, and I like this thinner dimension here. And then slide thickness, they're about the same. However, with the ambidextrous safeties on this, it's wider. So the rear dimension back here is a little significantly bulkier because of the fact that it has the ambidextrous safety and the Glock doesn't have any safety. And the slides are pretty much almost exactly the same dimension without that. So this is actually a good bit thicker right here. Other than that, they're almost the same dimensions. So they're very close to the same size. Also, this lever here sticks out on this side and makes it thicker, as you can see there. So there's a lot of stuff protruding off of this weapon, which there isn't on the Glock. So weight is, for a metal framed weapon, the weight is not bad. For an aluminum frame weapon, this weighs 29 ounces, between 29 and 30 ounces. So that's not terrible. Of course, that's the unloaded weight. Part of the reason for that is because these magazines are heavy. This is a stainless steel magazine, which makes it heavy, whereas the Glock uses a polymer magazine, which is significantly lighter. The Glock does a whole lot better on weight. This Glock 19, fully loaded with 16 rounds, weighs right at 30 ounces. So these two guns, this gun empty weighs the same as this gun loaded with 16 rounds of ammunition of 9mm. So on weight, this definitely loses to my reference standard, the Glock 19. It just does. It's significantly heavier. And for a modern firearm, you can get lighter than that. Of course, for a metal-framed for a metal-framed automatic, that's not a bad weight. And it's pretty decent. But it is heavy if you're going to conceal carry this. That's a pretty big brick to put in your pants. Whereas this is, significantly lighter, since you're right at 30 ounces, even fully loaded, because you've yet to load this and you're still at 30 ounces. So, a little bit heavy, a little bit on the heavy side. I'd like it to be lighter, honestly. Firepower is not stellar for this handgun. This is very similar to a 1911 in style, as you can see. It's not a 1911, but looks-wise and grip dimension, grip ankle, all these things are very similar, and the magazines are very 1911-ish. 8 rounds, which is generally a standard 1911 capacity. So you've got 8+1 in the Smith & Wesson 4013, and in my reference standard, the Glock, you've got 15+1, so a total of 16 rounds. I know this is only a 9mm, but even if you went with the Glock 23, which is the 40 caliber, you're going to still have 13+1, so 14 rounds versus 8+1, which is 9 rounds. So you have a 5-round superiority with a Glock 23 and 40 caliber over the Smith & Wesson model 4013. So I'm not a big fan of that, especially considering the fact that if you look at that, these are about the same thickness in the grip. The 19 is a little bit wider, but not much. So, if you're gonna have basically the same size grip, there's really no reason to have 5 less rounds than you could get out of a Model 23. So I'm not a big fan of the firepower. Not that 9 rounds won't get the job done if you shoot well, but I think 16 or 14 in a Glock 23 is superior. Durability, it seems to be pretty good. I mean, it's a Smith & Wesson. They make quality stuff, and it's a metal-framed weapon. We've had this for a while, shot it quite a bit, haven't had any trouble with durability, hasn't broken or anything. So I don't think there's an issue with durability. I haven't heard a whole lot about these guns. They aren't like the biggest, most popular weapon out there. They aren't like the Glock, which is used by every police station in the country. So there's no real professional reference, I suppose, but they're fairly durable pistols. Reliability, it's also fairly reliable. Haven't had any jams with it. It's not a problem with reliability. I don't have an issue with it anyway. We've never had any problems with it. So I'm going to say this is going to be a fairly reliable pistol for you. You shouldn't have any issues. I'd feel comfortable carrying this as a as a concealed carry weapon from a reliability standpoint. I wouldn't be worried about it not firing or jamming or anything of that nature. Smith & Wesson's been in the business for a while and they know what they're doing. And we're coming up on 10 minutes here, so I'm going to go ahead and stop, and we'll start again with part 2 here.